As son to a well-known Columbus auto dynasty, Rick Ricart is making a name for himself, bringing innovation to Columbus area customers and beyond.
Rick, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Was this always a plan for you to go into the business?
No, I didn't know exactly. I don't know if anyone truly knows what their plan is in life until, for me, it was some point in my 20s. I grew up really not being forced into the business at all. In fact, it was the opposite. I think my dad being second generation and his dad being a baby boomer, there was this you brought the work home thing that happened to my dad a lot. And there was my grandpa would come home, he'd have dinner, then he'd go back to the shop. So the whole conversation would be what happened at work all day.
Right.
And he'd bring my dad back to work with him. And I don't think my dad liked that growing up. So when I grew up, we spent a lot of time together, but we did, we raced cars, we raced go-karts, we raced motorcycles, we went motorcycle riding a lot, and we did fun, interactive things. And my dad has a science background, so when it came to teaching and education, it was all math and science. Not until I was actually active working in the business did I actually start learning the car business. In fact, the day I sold my first car, I didn't even know that we secured payments and financing for people. I was 20 years old and I thought everyone just wrote a check for a car. I had no idea. So and when I asked him that, he said he kept me stupid on purpose. Because it's like if you learn too much too early, it can be dangerous. Mm-hmm. And so it was a lot of fun. And then I went to school. I did a post-grad year at a school called Northwood University. And I was lucky enough to find the West Palm Beach campus. Instead of the Northern Michigan campus. And I did a year of the automotive marketing and management classes. And through those classes and actually learning the business and learning who the other peers were in the industry, a lot of other car dealer kids, I saw a competitive advantage that I could bring to the table. And I thought, I didn't make it to the NFL and Hollywood never called to make me a star. So I'll go sell cars for the family business. And it turned out I like the people, I love the cars, and I was an above average car salesman, and I just wanted to keep learning more and growing. So
growing up, did you want to go to Hollywood? Did you want to go play in the NFL? What was your big dream?
I really didn't know. I think I was finding myself. I grew up here locally in Gahanna. I went to Columbus Academy, graduated in '98, and I went off to school in Dallas, Texas at SMU, and ended up changing majors a couple times, trying to kind of feel through what I wanted to do. And I did a lot of acting. I did the plays in the theater, musicals and such. And the football thing was kind of a joke. It was, but you grow up and I'm taller and bigger than an average guy. And you think, gosh, I wonder if, and you forget what small percentage of people make it to the NFL or make it to Hollywood. That's kind of the joke. Like that was not a plan. They were just kind of dreams. And then as I got settled in the world of business and marketing and started learning some of that and seeing what I could apply to the car business, take what my dad had started with his marketing and his video abilities and things and his creative ability, which is amazing, and be able to carry that on and even enhance it. I was already starting to come up with some of my own ideas when I was in my early 20s. So when I kind of took that baton, when I was 27 years old, it was never handed to me. It was kind of out of necessity. I jumped on and started doing the spokesperson role, which I also knew would give me pretty good job security if you kind of put yourself in that role.
There you go, smart.
And so I ended up taking that and running with it.
So your theater background, I'm sure, really has helped you along this path. And your dad's commercials were pretty legendary, not only from when he was playing the guitar or maybe he was Crocodile Hunter. How did he even come up with some of those ideas? Did you go to shoots with him when you were a kid?
I would go to shoots. I would hear the late night jam sessions. And our creative production director who was with Jim, he was with my dad years ago. He's still with me now because what he brings to the table from a creative aspect and just the kind of energy of let's keep this process flowing, kind of coined the term, that creative jam session. And you can call it brainstorming, whatever you want. But when you come over to someone's house and there's guitars and people sitting around and a few beverages being poured and ideas being written on whiteboards, the next thing you know, you wake up the next morning, you look at those whiteboards and go, whoa, we came up with something here. And my dad would do a lot of listening. He's a great listener. He would listen to what music we were listening to as kids and what was being played on the radio and what were people talking about. And whoever that, I mentioned Croc Hunter. Steve Irwin was huge at the time, and his TV shows and the kind of the parodies of him. So he would see what those current events were, that current top hit song, before today's age of the internet and cease and desist letters coming via email within minutes. He could take a song and take his words and change up the chords a little. And by the time it got through the legal channels and he was told to stop playing the song, it would be 6 to 8 weeks later. And the city of Columbus has seen it on TV for 2 months.
Perfect.
And he got all of his value out of it. So he was a little bit of a rebel to say, well, I shouldn't even say a little. He didn't follow the rules.
Well, it worked for him,
Yeah.
absolutely. How do you think he's really impacted you in your life? How has he inspired you?
Wow, that's a deep question. My dad inspires a lot of people. He has taught me, the biggest thing that I know about my dad is he's not different than anyone else. He's one of those wears the same black t-shirt every day kind of guy. Wow. I mean, I remember as a kid going to Meijer with him, and he would go buy 20 black t-shirts, like the packs of 3.
Right.
And just that's all he would wear because he could work on an engine and wipe his hand off. And then once it got to this kind of, it was acceptable in the world of business to kind of be business casual with a sport coat over a t-shirt, he's never put a dress shirt back on. Well, he did for a commercial for us, but he dresses the same and he treats everyone the same. He loves to race his dirt car in Chillicothe or his go-kart in Circleville. His friends, a group of guys he rides Harleys with, plays guitar with. He'll be found at the little bluegrass place on South High Street on a random night, just in there beating up old flat tops with just some regular guys that, he's just one of the gang. And the humility that he's taught and showed me, and the way that he has also taught me that through his emotion and my emotion, you can truly change the vibe of a room. Yeah. You can make somebody that's not smiling smile very easily in this world. And there's a lot of karma and payback if you go through this world and you try to make people smile. And he's got the biggest, kindest, loving heart ever too. So. Sales is just a division of marketing. Marketing is everything in a company. It's a video you see of me on TV to our internet, the website. It's all to create fun, emotion, and we want our employees to have fun. This morning, actually, there's a group of new hires. I said, start a new game of tag. There's 549 employees. It's 107 acres. Let's have fun. Let's play a big game of tag with each other.
Your dealership has been praised repeatedly for how you all treat employees, being one of the top places in Columbus for people to work. How do you do it? What do you provide to your employees?
It begins with just being open, being honest with people, not just caring about people, but showing that and creating that trust. We've got a lot of long-time, tenured, loyal employees. Just some great people, some great families. And it's not just that employee, it's the whole family that we affect on a daily basis. So we begin by truly having that open book, open door policy where that communication and those relationships are very candid open. It's a family business. It's a lot like, I don't know if you have a big family and you sit at a table for Thanksgiving, there may be the occasional cuss word said or dinner roll thrown at somebody else, but when you get up from the table, it's hugs and let's work this out and let's move forward. And so we have a lot of relationships built around that. At the same time, we listen to the employees and we know we have to adapt. So there are some structural things in place. We know in today's sales environment, commission-based salespeople have a lot of pressure on them. Times are changed. The internet's dictating the price of things. So there's not a need to have all that negotiation and commission-based things. So we went, based on the suggestion of our employees, we went to an hourly pay plan. Right. Through that, it also allows the sales employees to work 4-day work weeks. We have some technicians now working 3-day work weeks. Wow. So you figure out the flex scheduling. You have to realize that people's quality of life matters. If their home life, their work life, and their personal life aren't in balance, none of them are going to be successful. You have to have all three at least compliant and intact with where you want to be. And then it is that family atmosphere of caring and listening about somebody, and they're not just an employee number, they have a heart and soul to us. And if you treat people like that and care about them, they'll take care of you back.
In addition to what you've just talked about, what else do you think is really unique that you bring to the table as a leader?
The biggest two things that I like to bring to the table is innovation and marketing. And that's the great Peter Drucker, leadership, author, business mind, once said that innovation and marketing are the only two things that truly make money in a company, and everything else is just a cost. So to me, I never stop thinking about how to make things better. I feel like every area has an opportunity to innovate, whether it's like we just talked about, the employees' experience, working for us, to the guest experience, to each process, to the products we sell, to constantly try to innovate. And I think the leadership that comes along with that is people get excited that we're going to always be trying new things and experimenting and testing, and we're the early adopters, and we have companies that come to us and say, well, let's see if Ricart will try this. They're the test subject, and we pilot things and we beta test, and I love doing those things. So the innovation, I think, really brings people along. And the other side is the marketing, and the marketing itself, the energy, that fun, the emotion, the way we try to show what the experience is going to be like in our video marketing. We want to emulate that in the actual showrooms. So we want people to have fun, because what most people don't realize is marketing is sales. Sales is just a division of marketing. Marketing is everything in a company. And to have that process, that experience from the first touch point, whether it's a video you see of me on TV to our internet, the website, the way we interact, the way that the showroom experiences and the service drive experiences go, it's all to create fun, emotion, and we want our employees to have fun. I challenged them this morning, actually, there's a group of new hires. I said, start a new game of tag. There's 549 employees, it's 107 acres. Let's have fun. Let's play a big game of tag with each other.
So when I go there to look for a car, I'm going to have people playing tag around me.
You may be working with a salesperson who someone walks up and tags, and they're not allowed to leave the guest to go tag someone else. So it'll be fun and interesting.
So truly, I mean, when it comes to going to buy cars, it's not necessarily what I think of as my fun activity for the day. Are you working to make that a fun experience?
It absolutely is ranked right up there with having to go to your lawyer or go to your dentist. Like, no one really wants to. And so yes, I've been very proactive with the innovation of both putting the technology in place to make that happen. I partnered with some friends out in California at a company called AutoFi, AUTIFI, and we created a product called Express Checkout. We came to them and said, well, you have to make it very compliant, and the user experience and what the customer experience has to be great. It's to be compliant for the dealer and take care of all of our needs, as well as the state, as well as federal government, as well as compliance, regulatory, as well as the banking institutions, because there's dealer agreements and bank operating agreements all over the place. Once you satisfy all of those pieces of the puzzle, then it'll help increase or make that experience faster, better. So we're getting to the point now where it's gotten to the point where if you start online, if you know it's the car you want to buy, we're a dealer that you're willing to buy it for, and you hit that Start Express Checkout button and start pre-filling the application, looking at what your payments could be, we're receiving information. And why the process takes a long time and people don't like buying a car is we're putting a puzzle together every time. It's like someone walks in the showroom with a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle and dumps it on a table. To put that puzzle together, it takes 2 to 3 hours, and you have to make sure that everything's aligned with all of those different institutions and banks and legal and compliance, and put that, and there's a lot of paperwork and everything. But if we can get the information ahead of time and get all that information, it's already submitted and the bank already knows what's going on, then it's like walking in and 80% of that jigsaw puzzle is done, and it's easy to put in those last 20, 40 pieces. So this past Saturday, and I time these things, I'm crazy with data analytics, and the average time for an Express Checkout customer, whether they started the check process, whether they just started with a brief bit of the information or the entire deal before they walked in, the average time they were there was 52 minutes. And I'm really happy with that. We got it under an hour, where
impressive.
The average time 2 years ago was 3.9 hours. Asked me about this truck I'm driving, and it was a Ford Raptor, and I put a lift kit and mud tires, and he's getting all excited, and the light bars and the step-up bars and all this stuff. And so he says, well, is it parked close? Can I see it? And I'm like, well, Arnold, I think we're supposed to go shoot. And he looked at me and goes, they start when we get there.
Now, my understanding is the used car factory has kind of been your baby.
It's a big baby. That's a big fat baby, and I've
called
got
a
big
factory,
fat babies.
yeah.
It is. It's a special building, and it's got one of the coolest cultures and teams in place. I'm super proud of that department. I had the ability to put my influence and authority directly in there in summer of 2012, and we were selling approximately 500 new cars a month then, and 350 used. So I'm like, well, I know that there's something we can do there, and being a student of the business, and I really cut my teeth at our Chevrolet franchise in Whitehall for 6 years.
Okay.
So I wasn't at the big mega mall where all those layers of people to help you, and there's somebody to do each role and responsibility. I spent most of my early part of my career in smaller single point stores where you kind of had to know how to do everything. And I take all that information and learn how to kind of take the internet to the next level. Because at the time, dealers were fighting the internet. They were refusing to tell everyone everything. They wanted to withhold information. Don't show them pictures of the car. Don't put a price. Don't put the miles. Force someone to call you or come in.
Right.
They don't want to engage us. We're car dealers. So I came up with this new formula of overload of accurate information, taking that Motor Trend name and working with Motor Trend and creating this certified program and how we took it to market and how we built it up. We took that thing from the 350 cars a month it was selling to averaging over 800 a month.
Wow.
And and then 2015 awarded by Auto Remarketing Magazine as the #1 franchise dealer in the country. And we have maintained that for 3 years to the degree, which I love this, and our guys will love it when they see this. They could stop selling used cars in August and still be #1 in the country. Now, I don't want them to. They need to keep selling them.
Gotta keep
here,
selling,
but,
guys.
but it's really cool.
So, Rick, I gotta ask you, when is the last time you have sold a car?
Oh my gosh. Okay, if you would have asked me yesterday, I would have said it's probably been a month, but I actually sold a car this morning.
Well, congrats.
Because I've got some clientele that I've sold to, and some of, like this morning was kind of a celebrity. He's a UFC fighter that lives locally here, and I've got a relationship through my friends at the Blitz and things. So when I know he's coming in on Thursday morning, I go down and help him. I say hi. I kind of help him with his deal a little bit, and I didn't deliver it. I didn't do the finance or the paperwork. But as far as, he kind of knew what he wanted, and I come in and I bless the deal and I give my stamp to it and I give him a hug and everything's good. And I'll do that one or two times a week.
Now, speaking of your celebrity connections, the Arnold Classic, you guys are an integral part of that. How did that even start, and what is Arnold like?
Oh my goodness, that started because probably one of the men I respect most in this world, and one of those mentor advisors that I absolutely love, is Jim Lorimer. And Jim Lorimer is one of the most humble guys, one of the most lesser known names of someone with authority in Central Ohio. He's been the mayor of Worthington for years. He's been director of Homeland Security. He worked for Nationwide as vice president years ago. But he started sports festivals and track and field events in the 60s. He was in charge of the U.S. Olympic track team at one point. He started the first events allowing females to compete in track and running competitions. The guy is just, he breaks molds, he tears walls down, and he's the sweetest, quietest guy you've ever met. He was Arnold's business partner when Arnold came to America. Jim Lorimer was one of those that reached out and said, we got to get this guy on a stage. This is a draw. This is an athletic achievement, attraction. And so through Jim being local, and he's the reason that Arnold wanted to have his first contest at the old Vets Memorial in, I want to say, 1985, and it was 31 years ago. And it was just a bodybuilding competition. Right. Well, of course, the bodybuilding competition draws a crowd. So then the vendors and the supplement companies or whatever, I don't know if there were supplement companies back then. I knew there were weight belts. There was a weight belt company that approached Jim Lorimer and Arnold at the time and said, hey, can I set up a booth and sell my products? And they said, well, we got to charge you because we're charging. So it started to grow, and the expo grew. So of course, Arnold, who wants to always do things bigger, I mean, that guy dreams bigger and thinks bigger than maybe any person that's ever walked the earth. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger truly has the biggest brain. Like, his head physically is enormous. He's got this big brain, and he thinks big ideas. And he had a vision of seeing this take over the whole city. And people thought he was crazy, but what they didn't know is the next craziest person's my father. So Arnold and Fred get together, and Of course, my dad at the time thinks he can strum a guitar and bring 1 million people wherever he wants them to come.
Of course.
So he's got this magic wand, and Arnold's got the magic muscles, and they came together, and sure enough, they sold out the convention center within like 5 years. And it's a crazy cool story. But they used us as their marketing arm. They wanted to partner with a local company that bought a lot of media time and use Arnold. And actually, we were up until, I think, Muscle Farm, we were the only American company that Arnold endorsed in 20 years.
Wow.
And he knew who I was, and he was like, "Oh, hello, Rick." And I'm like, "Whoa,
He
what's
remembered
this?"
you.
And we start walking. I said, "Yeah, we got to film something." He said, "Yeah, we're going to film." Then he says, "Let me ask you a question. What did you drive?" And so I drove this, Ford truck. "Oh, you drove a truck? What kind of truck?" And he loves trucks. I know Arnold was into cars and trucks, but not to this degree. And he starts asking me about this truck I'm driving, and it was a Ford Raptor, and I'd put a lift kit and mud tires, and he's getting all excited, and the light bars and the step-up bars and all this stuff. And so he says, "Well, is it parked close? Can I see it?" And I'm like, "Well, Arnold, I think we're supposed to go shoot." And he looked at me and gave me this look like you'd expect from anybody at his level and goes, "They start when we get there."
Oh.
And I'm like, "Yes, they do, Mr.
Yes,
Governor,
they do.
Mr. Governor, sir." So we went outside, and I did a walk around, and I showed off the truck I was driving at the time, and he ended up getting one, and he loves so
From
every
you?
yeah. So every year
You sold the Arnold.
well, there's been multiple because
Okay.
every year he challenges me to build a new one, and he doesn't buy them, but somebody will because
Okay.
it's like a fun challenge every year. So
Wow.
last year we really kind of faked him out because I found this big 6-door limousine F650, the biggest thing I could possibly find, just to say I got something special for you this
Yeah.
year, Arnold. So now I got to find something to do with that truck. But
So whenever you are still doing an interview process, you're talking to a new candidate, what are your curveball questions?
ooh. My curveball, so one question I'll ask, and this is more like a pre-interview before even someone gets recruited question, is I ask them what their favorite car is,
Okay.
favorite car truck. And then I will put the secondary question of, now what car, if you had 40 grand to spend, what would you buy? Because you ask them their favorite car, you'll get the Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini answer. But then especially if I'm recruiting like a salesperson and I put that dollar cap on it, all right, so now what's your favorite car you would buy for under $40,000? You'll kind of find out quickly if they're a car guy or not, or a car gal or not. Because, if you have a little bit of that car instinct inside you and passion, it makes it easier for us to train the skill. Because there's no skill required except for really a technician in our industry. We look to hire character, we look to hire personality, and we can train the skill.